I think everybody has to get into a room, so to speak, and we have to make a deal. Now, maybe somebody doesn't want to make a deal, and if somebody doesn't want to make a deal, I think that person won't be around very long. That person will not be listened to very long.
U.S. President Donald Trump is continuing his attacks on the president of Ukraine today. Following Trump's confrontation with Volodymyr Zelenskyy on Friday, more than a dozen other world leaders met in London on Sunday, where the UK Prime Minister said a coalition of countries will make a peace plan and bring it to the United States. But today, on Truth Social, Trump reacted to a news article where Zelenskyy said the end of the war is very, very far off. Trump wrote, "This is the worst statement that could have been made by Zelenskyy, and America will not put up with it for much longer. This guy doesn't want there to be peace as long as he has America's backing." Arseniy Yatsenyuk is a former Prime Minister of Ukraine and now the chair of the Kyiv Security Forum. Sir, it's good to meet you. Thank you for being here today.
My pleasure, David.
You're in Kyiv. I wonder what the mood is there, what the reaction has been since the events of Friday in that White House meeting with President Trump and President Zelenskyy.
Well, on Friday, emotions were skyrocketing, okay? But I usually stick to another formula. I put aside emotions because I want to stick to the logics of reason. The most important issue, what needs to be done in the future, because we can't change the past. So once again, Ukrainian people are not happy with what they've seen in the Oval. But the thing is that we need to fix this and to repair the damage and to move forward in order to win this righteous fight. Because I know who benefited out of this. War criminal Putin.
Right. But how do you set aside emotion when obviously the stakes are so high? I mean, the very defense and future and security of your country, when the President of the United States is talking to the President of Ukraine in such a way and talking about forcing him into a deal he doesn't seem to want.
You know, David, in my world, I usually think not just how to set aside emotions, but actually how to make the next emotions that we're going to face better than we felt previous one. So once again, we are in a completely crucial right now situation. It's a pivotal moment. It's a watershed moment. And all depends what's going to happen in the next few days. Because you've seen the media reported in the US that President Trump considering an option to cut off the military aid to Ukraine. If this happens, once again, I don't believe this is to happen. But if this happens, this is a clear-cut way how to give Ukraine directly into the hands of Vladimir Putin.
I wonder, though, Europe is trying to take steps now, along with Canada, to try to support Ukraine in the absence of clear security guarantees from the United States. The leaders at the summit in London yesterday agreed on a 4-point plan to work with Ukraine on this. Is that enough? Is there enough reassurance there and enough capacity there, do you think, to not hand Ukraine to Vladimir Putin, as you've described?
You know, the good thing is that our European friends and the UK started to be proactive. The most important issue is just to unfold what kind of peace plan Ukraine, the European Union, the United Kingdom, Canada, and I do commend your efforts. And frankly speaking, you know, I've seen a lot of Canadian politicians, and as I already mentioned, war criminal Putin. I do remember your Prime Minister Harper. He's the best one how to handle with Putin. Okay, he was very tough one. But your incumbent Prime Minister paid the visit to Kyiv and paid the visit to London. So the good thing is that this is a real wake-up call for the entire free world, and the Europeans decided actually to unfold our joint peace plan and to bring this peace plan to the Oval. So that's the first issue. The second one is that Europeans started to invest into our joint security. Look at the stocks of the European military industrial companies. They've risen by 15% just in a day. And that's only verbal investment, not the real one. And that's my message to Americans. So, folks, helping Ukraine, you invest into your own security. And I would like to reiterate once again, this is the best ever investment into the US national security. As Ukraine severely degraded and demolished the land forces and the military of one of the biggest rivals of the United States. So Europeans started to make actions, and we have to be on a fast track because, I expect what President Trump is to say during his State of the Union address tomorrow.
Yeah, but even the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer said that the plan they've worked on, it needs strong U.S. backing to succeed. So I wonder if you share that assessment, because if they do pull their military aid, and who knows what President Trump will do at this particular point, sir, I mean, can Europe and Canada, is that enough to win it? Or do you really need America to stay no matter what?
As you asked me about the emotions, so I stick to a very realistic approach and very realistic assessment, not emotional one. We have to be frank. It's completely very difficult, okay, to win this war without Americans. And this never-ending spelling of the word backstop just reaffirms my assessment. Look, without the U.S. intelligence, without the U.S. reconnaissance, without the U.S. air defense systems, without the U.S. airlift capabilities, without the unity within the free world and transatlantic unity, we cannot win this fight against dictators and autocrats in the world. It's crystal clear. So that's the reason I believe we have to do our utmost to have Americans back on track. I do understand all repercussions. I do understand everything what is happening in the Oval and what it is to happen in the US politics, okay? But the thing is that we need them, and they need us. They have to realize this.
So to have the Americans back and in alignment on this, as you said, you want to focus on making the next emotions better than the previous ones. That's your approach. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is suggesting that President Zelenskyy should apologize for what happened on Friday. Do you think President Zelenskyy should apologize? Do you think it would be helpful if he apologized, even if he feels he shouldn't?
You know what I feel? I feel that my president and President Trump is to make a joint press conference to address an entire world and to say that, look, we're gonna reach the peace deal for Ukraine. Just, long-lasting, and secured peace. The United States are committed to support Ukraine in its righteous fight. And the US president is to claim that he is ready to provide another security aid package for Ukraine. And this is the security commitment of the United States. And the United States are ready to provide the backstop for the Europeans who are ready to send its military boots on the ground. And that Russia is a rival, and that Russia is to pay the price. In this case, Ukraine is to get fair, just peace, and the Americans will still hold its leading position in the world, because I still believe that the US is a beacon of the free world, even despite what's happening right now. You know, the US is democracy. We had plenty of presidents before, and we're gonna have plenty of presidents after. But we are living in this realpolitik world, so we need to fix it. And my president has nothing to apologize for.
But he has nothing to apologize for, but I guess you just have to choke it down and apologize if that's what it takes. You know what I mean? Like, it seemed pretty clear to me when he went in there that he was being, accosted and lectured. I am not saying he should apologize. I just wonder if the Americans believe this is a precondition to getting them back on board with everything. Is that what you think it will take?
David, we are just digging into what already happened. Okay, I do understand you. You want to drag me back into the past.
No, I'm not trying to drag you anywhere, sir. I'm just trying to get an assessment of a path forward. Like, if this is the American insistence, I just wonder how you get around it. Like, I don't know. I have no idea how you deal with this administration, given the volatile nature of this administration. This is just what I heard from Marco Rubio as he did a series of interviews on the Sunday U.S. talk shows and other places. And I'm just wondering if that's where you think it needs to go. That's all, sir.
The best way to fix it is to have a closed door meeting with President Trump, my president, and envoys from the United Kingdom, from Italy, from Germany, from France. I mean, presidents and prime ministers. They can fix it behind the closed doors. Otherwise, once again, we do understand that there are a number of festivities in the Kremlin right now. So I don't want to give any kind of food to Russians, to pour the gasoline onto the Russians' festivities and to give them the red meat.
No, and I appreciate that, sir. I was not trying to trap you with my question. I swear. It's just this is what the Secretary of State has said, so I was curious on what your thoughts of it were. So let's just look ahead to tomorrow night when President Trump will speak to Congress. And he is teasing, he will have an update on the Ukraine minerals deal, which was a key part of this conversation that was supposed to happen on Friday. What do you hope to hear as a final point, sir, from President Trump on Tuesday night?
Well, I hope that the U.S. is to lead the free world. Maybe this is the wishful thinking, but in the end, it's going to happen. I hope that the U.S. president will never cut off Ukraine's military support and military aid. I hope that the U.S. president will never get along with dictators and autocrats in different parts of the world, because Russia is not the only one. So if Ukraine fails, this would be a disaster for the United States, and this would definitely embolden China, North Korea, Iran, Venezuela, and another pariahs to jump on Americans. So I hope that the United States will do its best. It's in its national security interests to help Ukraine, to help Europe, and to maintain transatlantic unity. That's what we got after the Second World War. And that's actually the basic reason why the US is as strong as it is now. So I want the US still to be a strong nation that supports those who are in a dire strait, but on the right side of the history. I mean, my country, Ukraine, they have to support us. They signed Budapest Memorandum. They've signed a 10-year security cooperation agreement. They've signed a dozen of different cooperation agreements with Ukraine. And President Trump, as he said, he is a strong deal maker. So I hope that he is ready both to cut the deals and to execute the deals.
Arseniy Yatsenyuk, former Prime Minister of Ukraine, now chair of the Kyiv Security Forum. Appreciate your time, sir. We hope you'll come back.
Thank you, David.